So the weekend's football has just happened, guys, and we've asked you for all of your massive talking points from the weekend. I picked out a few here. We're going to go through a few topics, starting off with Tedash Jadvav, who says, why do people say Harry Kane is overrated despite of his great stats? This is something that I can't actually believe still happens, and I've seen it on Twitter as well. People going mad about Harry Kane scoring easy goals or just penalties. As for his stats, 25 in 40 games for England, 128 Premier League goals. Since 2014-15, no one has scored more than Harry Kane with 125, 7 more than Sergio Aguero in that time. The thing is, every time you say someone's stat padding or playing against a weaker team, it's not the player's choice to play these teams. I'm sure that for the fans, you'd love to see massive games week in, week out. England, Germany, England, Brazil, England, Italy, Spain. It just doesn't happen like that. The Euro qualifications come around, and I don't know about you guys, but as an England fan, I'd much rather that Kane, or whoever it is, scores the goals against the weaker teams, against any team they play, rather than worrying about what those goals mean for the record. You wouldn't just miss on purpose. Kane isn't going to miss a penalty just because it's against Bulgaria, is he? It's not like Raheem Sterling's got the ball, he's about to cut it back to Kane for a tap-in, and Kane says, wait a minute, let me go 30 yards out, then give me the ball, because I'm going to try and score from there. Don't be so ridiculous. A striker's job is to score goals. If he's closer to the goal, he's got more chance of scoring, so good on him. This goes for anyone. This isn't even Kane talk anymore. Kane, Salah, Aubameyang, Aguero, Ashley Barnes, it doesn't matter who it is, get yourself in the box if you're a striker, because your job is to put the ball in the back of the net. Every single striker scores against the weaker teams and against the best teams as well. The other option for this is, the other example I should say, you would never ever bring this record up against a defensive team. For example, last season, both Alisson and Virgil van Dijk were part of that incredible Liverpool defence that managed to get 21 clean sheets in 38 games. But against teams in the rest of the top 6, so that's 5 teams, 2 games a season, in the other 10 games against the top 6, they kept 3 clean sheets. Does that tell me that Alisson and Van Dijk can't do it in the big games? That they stat padded by getting clean sheets against the weaker teams in the league? Absolutely not. That is ridiculous. They play the rest of the teams week in, week out. When they're presented with other strikers or other teams, they do their best to keep a clean sheet, keep the ball out of the net. Just like Harry Kane and every other striker does their best to put the ball in the net. Doesn't matter who you're playing against, whichever team, the stats are there to prove that he is a top striker, regardless of who he plays for, what he's doing. If he puts the ball in the net, that's it. That was a little bit of a rant, but that's what happens. Players get annoyed as well. Everyone saw Mane and Salah fighting when they didn't score at Burnley. Aguero got annoyed when he was taken off by Guardiola. Exactly the same thing. Right, moving on anyway from the Kane debate. RK, thanks for getting in touch. I don't get why clubs rehire managers, obviously talking about Watford this weekend with Quique Sanchez-Flores. If they failed the first time, why is the club bringing them back? Sounds like bad club management then than anything else to me. What's your take on it? This can maybe and maybe not be true. In this case, I think it is true. I'm not sure why they're bringing him back, but it's obviously something to do with the fact that they're very friendly with Quique Sanchez-Flores. He's also been in charge of Udinese, and the owners of Watford own Watford, Udinese, I believe Granada in Spain, and 1 or 2 others around the world. What I don't get is why they've decided to do it now. So, Javi Gracia last season took Watford to 11th in the Premier League. They were quite close to the top 8, and FA Cup runners-up. They did get banged in the final by City, but who wasn't, let's be honest. When Quique Sanchez-Flores was sacked back in 2016, he took them to 13th into the FA Cup semi-final. Gracia's record is clearly better. What I want to know is, why did he wait all summer? Why on earth would you give Gracia the time in pre-season to work with this squad? You'd back him in the transfer market with millions and bring him in loads of new players, including, I think, 28 million on Ismail Sarr. Then, after 4 games, don't get me wrong, right? I'll agree, 1 point out the first 4 is shocking, right? By anyone's standards. Never mind Watford, who are trying to push into the top 8, right? Why would you then go and sack him? Quique Sanchez-Flores is coming in now. He hasn't got a transfer window to work with his players, so he's going to be given at least until January. And if it turns out that the squad was bad, the players were bad, that yes, the tactics needed tinkering somewhat, it doesn't matter, because Quique Sanchez-Flores can turn around and say, it's not my team. Didn't have a chance to work with him in pre-season. So what you're doing is basically just offsetting the season by another one. If Watford live to regret this, it'll kind of make me a little bit happy because they shouldn't have made the decision. Of course, I never want to see a team do really badly or get relegated, but it's a pretty shocking decision in my point of view. Who knows? I'm like an idiot. Suarez might turn it around and take it to the top by Christmas. I can't see it happening, obviously. Next up, right, a lot of international football this weekend. Massive international games. Stefan van Vreden. Who do you think will be the five biggest contenders for the Euros, and who do you think will win it in current form? It's a tough one because, as you mentioned, with current form, it's going to be very different answers. Germany on current form, nowhere near the top. But if you look at their squad and how you assume their squad will be fighting fit and ready next summer, I think they're in with a chance. They're not one of my favourites though, Germany. I'm going to go with Portugal. I think João Felix is going to be a brilliant player. Ronaldo is still doing what he's doing. Bernardo Silva is also excellent. Some great other players also won the Nations League this summer. Portugal, I'm going for favourites. France, definitely are my favourites to win the whole thing. Never mind be a contender. They just look brilliant all over the park. Holland, for sure, especially a fantastic win at the weekend. England as well. I think in central midfield and central defence, England may have one or two worries, but up front, we've just spoken about Kane, Sancho, Sterling, Hudson-Odoi is coming back from injury. A few more players, they look really good. As for the fifth contender, Germany, Spain or Italy. Just one of those I think is going to pick up and probably as it gets close to the tournament, football really start putting together a run of form. And I expect them to be in good shape. There will of course be dark horses, but we'll have to wait and see. Next question. Willow Wizard. Is international football impacting the performance of footballers at club level negatively or positively? Love the videos, keep it up. Thanks for letting us know. There are two sides to this argument. First off, the players do go away and, well, for all intents and purposes, they're training and being coached by the best players of that particular country. When a young English player who's, playing for his team at club level goes to the England setup, they're playing amongst the best. And it goes to every country. You're playing amongst the best the country has to offer. So you're going to learn far more. You're going to be around them. It's going to be a different type of pressure. Any chance to learn more about football in general is, of course, going to be good for the player. Having said that, I think it can negatively impact the team. So many players always say you never want to go into an international break on the back of a loss, because then you've got to wait like two and a bit weeks until your team plays again. By that time, you could be overthinking about the loss, because when you lose, you want to play another game quickly, get it right, get it out of your system and get another 3 points on the board. That can be negatively impacting the team as well if they're on an amazing run of form, because then you stop, you might go away for international break, a player gets injured, you come back, things aren't quite the same. As for, I think, the main issue that many clubs have, especially nowadays, when many squads come from around the world, is of course the travelling. It's fine if you're England and you've got 2 home games, or if you're in the rest of Europe, to be honest, you're taking like an hour, 2 hours flight. The likes of the South American and the Far East Asians who play in European leagues, they're travelling so much, and their federations don't always have the same schedule. So with the European federations, no team plays a game later than, for example, this break, Wednesday night, which means that they'll have 3 days before turning to club action, just like they would in the Champions League. The other confederations, like the South American and the Asian Federation and the North American federations, don't always stick to the same thing. So you'll see players last season like Heung-min Son flying to South Korea, took an incredible amount of flights and time and was so tired. Lionel Messi is always the same. And Luis Suarez, Barcelona's got quite a few. In fact, last season I remember Philippe Coutinho as well. You're flying to South America, playing a few games on a different schedule in a different time zone, then flying back, it's bound to mess with the body clock, and I'm sure it can impact negatively, but no more than being tired would just from overplaying, or late night on a Thursday night if you're in Europa League. There's flip sides. There's flip sides to both of that. The last question. Crazy A-Body, not quite sure I got that one right. Is the Netherlands squad capable of winning the Euros? So I've just named them as one of my 5 contenders. I think they're a contender. For me, the one issue with the Netherlands is the attack. They seem, when I look at their squad now, they seem to have so many attacking midfielders, wide midfielders, that they're shoveling into that forward position. And I just think they need a goal scorer. They do, like we talked about on the top of the show, need someone in the box, put the ball in the back of the net. I've no doubt they can still create opportunities and play the Dutch way. And as we saw at the weekend, 4-2 in Germany is amazing. I just think there are games where you're not necessarily going to be able to play at your best and they need someone to get a goal from somewhere. Luke de Jong, last season at PSV was brilliant, moved to Sevilla. If he can have another fantastic season, really go into the Euros on great form, he can be that option. I don't see him as a starter, comes off the bench, target man, can sniff out a goal, gets in the box, good. But for me, if Holland are really going to be dominant on the international scene, they're going to need another Huntelaar, Van Nistelrooy, Robin van Persie. And obviously, understand that these players don't come along every so often. They're not once in a generation, but they're once every few years. But yeah, the rest of the squad with De Jong, De Ligt, Van Dijk, there's so many other good players for Holland. They're fantastic. I just think in attack, they need to be that little bit sharper. But yeah, those are all the hot topics from the weekend. Thank you so much for letting me know in the community tab on YouTube and on my Twitter. Thanks for giving a shout out and let me know all of your takes. We'll be doing this pretty much at the beginning of every single week. So look out for the post on the community tab. And of course, you can get at me on Twitter at Matt_Froelich, where you can let me know all of your thoughts. Until next time though, we will see you guys later.